pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Alrighty, the standard reminder to silence your electronic devices and phones. I call to order the September 6, 2016 meeting of the Village of Massena Board of Trustees. Roll call, Mr. Offel.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chase.
Here.
I'm here. Mayor Courier is out of town, as is Trustee Carvel. Start with the approval of meeting minutes.
Can we do these in a group?
Entertain a motion to.
So moved. Second.
Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Report of officers and committees. Code enforcement, Trustee Carvel and myself. We do have a code-related item later on that we'll be talking about light, but other than that, nothing new to report on my end.
Give you a quick overview.
Sure.
Every Monday we have a meeting with the mayor. Building permits are up. I think they're good weather this summer. It's making people town nails, which is good. And last week and a half ago, I started working with our software people as far as creating the zombie database. So once the state law comes into effect, hopefully we'll just be able to go here.
Nice.
Here's our list. Now what do we do next? So I started working on that.
Awesome. Economic development, Trustee Offel and myself.
I had some questions for Tim, but I can wait till next meeting.
Okay. Fire committee, Trustee Carvel and myself. We will be meeting again soon. Anything you want to report on?
Just to make maybe the whole board aware, you're aware that we're having issues with a ladder truck. It's in service, and the repair company has done wonders for us, but sometime September they want it down in Queensbury, so the specialists from Pennsylvania can come up and go. They're baffled. They don't know why it's doing what it's doing. But other than that, just normal stuff.
Hopefully they get it resolved.
I hope so too.
Personnel committee, Trustee Shays.
No report.
Police committee.
No report. Real sad and good.
Recreation committee.
No report. We'll meet next Tuesday.
Street committee, Trustee Offel and myself.
I don't really have anything other than the fact that people are very happy with West Orbis. I heard a lot about that. You guys did a great job. And as far as I haven't heard as much in West Hatfield, but I heard a lot about West Orbis. So,
Appreciate that.
yeah.
We also have, we reached out to St. Lawrence County. They're going to assist us in painting the stripes down East Orbis, West Orbis, East Hatfield, West Hatfield.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good.
Also the sidewalk you guys put in from the junior high there.
The schools.
Yeah. Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Very nice to drive down there and see them walking on it.
Yep.
Water and sewer, Trustee Offel and myself.
Indeed it is.
Initial public comment period, as always. If you have any comment, please rise and state your name. Mr. Gray.
Hi, Sean Gray, 5060 Strawberry Street. Several weeks ago, there was some work being done on the water line towards the downtown, and they had to open a hydrant, I think, to relieve pressure right in front of my house, which I have no problem with. You know, it really makes sense, but it was open, wide open for several hours. The only problem was I had no water pressure in my house. Didn't know it was going to happen. I have an on-demand water heater that can have issues if it doesn't get enough supply of water. So I thought if it's going to happen again, not necessarily to me, but to anywhere, just a little heads up to the neighbors around that hydrant, even a note on the door or a knock on the door or a phone call would have been great just to know what's going to happen. Because it was, I think, 3 or 4 hours it was wide open. So just a thought.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
Seeing no other individuals, we will go into the next item. Old business, we don't have any on the agenda. Anything you guys have? New business. We're looking to establish a few public hearings. These are all in relation to grants that the village is looking to apply for. The first one is access to Home for Veterans program. Give you a very brief synopsis. This is Dink, who assisting us in applying for this program. It provides financial assistance to low and moderate income veterans to make their home accessible for living with a disability, providing assistance with the cost of adapting homes to meet the needs with those with disabilities will enable veterans to safely and comfortably continue to live in their residence and avoid institutional care. The village is applying for a $150,000 grant to fund improvements to single-unit owner-occupied homes in the village of Massena. If funded, the program aims to assist at least 6 homes. Looking for,
Second.
so we'll schedule that for next meeting at 5:30.
Would that be the 19th or 20th?
All in favor?
Or should I take one at a time?
We do just
Should I take, okay, no, you don't.
resolution, right? Yep. Yeah, just for the first one. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Next up is the first-time home buyer. We're all probably familiar with this one, but again, Dink is the one leading the charge for the village of Massena on this one. It will be for first-time home buyers within the village of Massena with incomes at or below 80% of the area median income for St. Lawrence County. The village is proposing to assist 10 to 12 eligible first-time home buyers with assistance. Assistance will be provided in the form of deferred loans for down payment and closing costs. They can provide a bit more information before and during the public hearing as well, but we're looking to schedule that directly after the other hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Then up third is the Restore New York grant. This grant is being assisted by our partners at Strategic. The goal of this project is to remove blight and rehabilitate the Slavens building in downtown Massena. Basically built in the 1950s, it's been vacant for nearly 10 years. What they're looking to do is to have the former furniture showroom abated and renovated into a mixed-use building with retail, commercial, and market-rate apartments. It's within the Massena downtown core, where 20% of the population lives below the poverty line. Revitalization of the site. Basically, the total project cost is $600,000. The grant requested for $500,000. The remaining $100,000 will potentially be paid for by a private developer who might be in partnership with it. Again, more information will be presented at the public hearing, but we're looking to establish that after the other 2 public hearings.
So
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Passes. Next up, we have the authorization to solicit bids for the installation of spray foam super insulation at the water treatment plant. Superintendent?
Yeah, since the construction of the plant, there's never been any insulation in the back filter room, so the inside temperature fluctuates as the outside temperature does. So if it's 10 degrees above zero outside, that's pretty much what it is inside as well. What I would like to do is insulate the exterior walls and the ceiling with spray foam insulation. I've developed specs, I've sent them out, however, I've not established a bid date that they know of yet, so I would like to insulate that, so hopefully we can save some energy costs from here forward.
And trustees, this is a budgeted item.
It is budgeted, yes, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next up, award bids. Superintendent.
Yes, this was not pretty much a bid item for the village of Massena. I did choose the method of piggyback, which is adopted by New York State back in 2012, I believe it is. And it's in regards to purchasing a dump truck cabin chassis as well as a plow, dump box, and controls. Both these items were budgeted in my budget. The piggyback method that we chose, we would like to purchase a Western Star, 2017 Western Star 4700. The low bid there, the low number was $91,595. I did budget $97,000 for that, so we're well below budget. And then the plow And that goes to Tracy Road Equipment, and it's the Onondaga County Contract 7823. And also, the plow with wing and a dump box with that, with the sander control, the budgeted amount of $78,000. That should go to Viking Surveys, again, on the Onondaga County Contract, number 7823, and that bid came in at $60,008.172. I think the last time we purchased a truck with a plow was back in 2012.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Right.
Aye. Next up, F, authorization to donate surplus police vehicle to Town of Norfolk Police Department. Chief, do you want to summarize or say anything on
Yep,
this?
just our old police vehicle that we no longer are utilizing with the one we bought. They came to me and asked if we had any vehicles that they could utilize, and went to the mayor. And so our oldest vehicle, I recommended that it go to Norfolk Police Department for them to utilize. Their car that they're currently using is not safe to operate.
I can't see giving it to them. The reason why we trade and get rid of ours is because it's no longer used. We should take our vehicles and trade them in when we purchase one, just to give it out for one, because we're not using it. I don't agree with this idea at all, period. It's ridiculous.
How long is it for? My understanding was it was a Bridget Gap for.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
So they would be returning it?
I'm not positive.
Yeah, that's it.
My suggestion would be to at minimum table it, because I just have questions about a hold harmless agreement. And would it be comfortable, even if we were.
I mean, if we could help somebody out to
Oh,
bridge
yeah.
the gap,
Yeah.
I don't have an issue.
I don't have a problem with that, no, just to help give it to them.
Right, yeah, that's, right, I'm quite sure that it was Bridge Gap, I don't have an email right here, but let's just wait for the next meeting, it's the 20th, in 2 weeks. Sound good?
Good idea.
Yep.
Table it.
Make a motion, or can we just ignore it? No action being taken on that item. We're going to move to the next item, which is G, proposed resolution authorization to apply registration fees to blight properties. So this basically goes back to the blight code that we passed well over a year ago. Gave ample time for everyone to familiarize themselves and bring themselves into compliance to make sure they didn't hit the severe point values. And basically the folks over in code have done a wonderful job using the code to see who might be in violation. And Foreman has given us a list of those properties who, correct me if I'm saying this incorrectly, but basically were notified appropriately. We went out of our way to notify them, and we received no response, no corrective plans, nothing. Typically what happens is, as soon as they're notified, they have 30 days to come back to us and say, hey, I know I'm in violation, but I have a plan. And the folks at code and the code committee is pretty good at being able to recognize when somebody has a plan and giving them the chance. These properties we've had zero contact from.
That's correct. I can go over as a ballpark if you want.
Sure.
3 or 4 of the properties, the people that own them are deceased. There's no estate, or if there is an estate, they don't want it. Some of them are bank owned, we don't know who the banks are. Some of them have just walked away. So, like you said, we send them a certified letter, we try to contact them any other way, nothing, no response.
How long do they have to pay the fee?
I don't know, I talked to Julie about it a number of times. It'll go on their taxes, I think, next year, so.
So moved.
I couldn't abstain from this because I got thing in the back of my mind, these people haven't paid and they're just letting them go downhill. How are we ever gonna get this money that's fine, the number, the dollar amounts you put on here? You can put it on your tax code, but they're not paying to take it, your property up to code. They're just gonna ignore it. And a prime example of that is the Slavin building, for crying out loud. And I look at an addresses down through here, Briar Avenue. That's a pretty good part of town. MD after his name. It's a doctor, for crying out loud.
That gentleman walked away. We tried contacting him. This is many, many times before we initiated the blight code.
Yeah.
He had a playhouse that he left and we removed it. Well, Haas's department did because the PD was witnessing drug activity, so that was done last summer. This gentleman has walked away. He doesn't answer our phone calls, he doesn't respond to our letters.
So
I think this property you're talking about is in a bank's hand, we just don't know what bank. Maybe when this zombie stuff kicks in, we'll know who these banks are and say, here you go, it's your turn to fix the problem.
So trustees, just a point of clarification, the local law that we passed back when we did the blight code actually already calls for the assessment of these fees. What we are doing is basically accepting these into record, that this is the list that is being assessed. So the fees are actually being assessed, and Attorney McCardle weighed in on this because we were wondering if we needed to do this at all. That the fee is actually assessed as a result of the local law that we passed with the blight code. The law says anyone that doesn't respond within their 30 days, and no response at all, will automatically have the fee assessed. This is accepting in the record that these are the ones that code has notified us of. I don't know if that helps or.
I think it's a good deal. It's a good idea.
Huh?
I think it's a good idea
Yeah.
to go ahead and.
Well, let's try it. Let's see. Good luck.
So I'm going to second the motion. It's a resolution, pull individually, trustee Otto, trustee DeShays.
No.
I'm an aye. That doesn't pass, correct? So the notification doesn't enter into record, however, the local law does call for the assessment of the fees. Moving on, item number 7, voucher warrants.
I move that the voucher signed by trustee Carver and myself be approved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 8, monthly reports. We had some on the table.
Yeah, I passed it.
Yep.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I passed it.
Yeah.
Questions or discussion? Communications correspondence. I have a couple. The mayor is issuing a proclamation. I won't do the full reading, it's not my proclamation, but basically September 16th marks the 229th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. Therefore, the mayor is declaring that the week of September 17th through 23rd be Constitution Week. So I have a copy of the proclamation. If anyone is interested, please feel free to step up afterwards. But that is one of the correspondences and communications. Secondly, we did receive word regarding Parker Ave Bridge. As we've known for quite some time, that is going to be replaced. And basically, they are looking at traffic to stop Monday, September 12th, and that is going to be detoured until the fall of 2017. So any help we can get in spreading that word, but as stated, that's a long-term planned project, so it shouldn't be coming as a surprise. Any additional communication correspondence? Closing public comment period. Mr. Gray.
The list of blighted properties, are any of them current on their taxes?
Cannot answer that.
The only reason I ask is if they are, the assessor's sending their tax bill somewhere, whether it's a bank or an individual, so that might be a way to track down who owns it or who's responsible. And if it's a bank, certainly it should come up.
Anyone that's on here, we have no information on. We've tried the county, we've tried water
Treasurer's
department,
office.
we've tried everybody.
It's a great idea. I will say they are amazing at their detecting work. But
And
appreciate
most of these properties, we've been working on for quite some time. It's just not like, okay, you're on a blight. We've tried every other avenue,
Mhm.
so.
So will the county foreclose on them and put them in the tax sale, do you think?
Some of them potentially.
I think there's a few on the tax sale next week, so I don't know how that's gonna play out.
Well, this is an assumption only on my part, but if someone was to buy it, they're probably gonna be a more proactive owner and will likely be seeking out with a plan, which is all we were looking for. We weren't looking for overnight magic, we were looking for a plan. Seeing no other,
I have a couple questions.
yeah,
The Parker Avenue Bridge, is that just the traffic over the bridge that's gonna be closed, or is the underpass also gonna be closed?
great question. I'm assuming the underpass as well.
Both? Okay.
Yeah, safety-wise, it would make sense.
And with the blight vote, what exactly was voted down there? Because you said that the local law still calls for the assessment, but what would have happened there if that would have passed, and what happens now?
The fees will still be assessed because
Right.
the local law does call for them. Basically, the village board was looking to have this entered into record, more of a I don't want to say a re-upping, but a recertifying our stand behind this local law. So by putting this into record, we were saying, yes, we're well aware that the local law is being utilized and that fees are being assessed. So it's more of an entering into record on behalf of the village, but the local law is still very much valid and being utilized. And you'll see these type of reports regularly. This isn't a one-time, so chances are you will see these addresses again.
Is this a one-time fee?
It's annual. And they can always approach code and the code committee with a plan for getting out. Keep in mind, to get to the point value needed for this level of fee assessment, you're talking about a severely blighted property. These aren't just people who, have a roof that's seen better days and just haven't had the ability or finances to replace it. That is not at all what these are. These are issues that are safety, public hazard, multiple blight issues. They're in bad shape. Any other questions? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Clear, Mike?
Thank you, folks.
So we'll see you